Ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags. Now, I have a bit of a different video for you today. I'm not actually going to show you a match or me flying or me messing up flying. I'm going to do a bit of a talk about the game mechanics, specifically the game mechanics involving gaining experience within the game. Now, I've been watching a few of the questions that have been popping up across Reddit. I've been watching some of the questions that get asked very commonly in chat and game, and it seems to me that a lot of players don't quite understand how the XP modifiers work, so here's my shot at trying to explain it. Now, the first thing I'm going to explain is the mastery bar, because this is very important to understand. The mastery bar is, well, it's the bar you keep checking out as you gain experience in your aircraft to buy new upgrades for it. Most people don't think of it as anything more than that. But if you put the cursor over it, as you can see I've done here, you'll see it's got a little tag on it that says that why this aircraft is not mastered, it receives an X5 bonus to all experience it gets. This is basically a 500% multiplier on every aircraft you have until you've maxed it out. Now, every aircraft in the game, whether it's premium, whether it's not, of every level gets this bar. The only thing that changes between the aircraft is the amount of experience required to max the aircraft out. The B-25 here, you can see, isn't maximised, so it gets its X5 bonus. Now, the way this works, where you're going to kill a single target in a match. It's the only kill you make for the match, and this target is worth 200 experience. The first thing that the game calculates when it's working out how much experience you get at the end of the match is using this mastery bar. Why it isn't maximised out, that 200 XP gets multiplied by 5, so it's now 1000 XP that you just made shooting that one ground target. But it doesn't quite end there. Now, here's my Yak 1B. Now, as you can see, its reward modifier is 60%. Some players are under the misconception that that means you get 60% on top of the value of the target. It's not. That's how much of the XP you take after the initial modifier, or the amount that you actually get left over. So we've killed a ground target that's worth 200. It's been multiplied by 5 to 1000. You get 60% of that XP per kill with this aircraft. So you take home 600 XP. After that, if it's a double and you win, you get your win modifier plus your daily double modifier, and then if you're running a premium account, you get the double there as well. So each aircraft, the rewards on the aircraft are different for each one, as it's how Gaijin is trying to actually balance the aircraft within the game. Since the game, or how well they're doing it at the moment is debatable, but since the game is based around the concept that the planes are ranked in their levels by the year of production, so there will be aircraft that are ridiculously overpowered into everything else in a particular level range. Gaijin's trying to balance this by adjusting the actual reward rating on each plane on an individual basis. So planes that are exceptionally powerful will have a tendency to have a much lower reward. Planes that are really underpowered or extremely hard or difficult to get performance out of will tend to have a higher reward. To show this in practice, here's the PBY-5 Catalina. It's a level 3 naval bomber. As you can see, it's got an 80% reward rate. It's not an easy aircraft to get to perform well. It's very vulnerable to fire. A lot of the times it winds up as a giant target in the sky. It takes a hell of a pilot to be able to get these things to pull up really massive rewards. So as such, it gets classed as a fairly low powered aircraft for the level 3 category. And the other end of the scale, the Lag 311. Again, it's level 3. It's probably the most powerful fighter in the level 3 category. Actually, I think without a doubt it is the most powerful fighter in the level 3 category. It's the first aircraft to get access to a cannon in the game at level 3. It gets access to a single 20mm. Only gets a 20% reward rating. This is because of how powerful it is. I've seen these things perform fairly well all the way up to nearly tier 10. Basically, the way the reward system works is to balance out the overperformance of the lag against the underperformance of something, or the difficulty to achieve performance out of something like the Catalina. For every ground target the Catalina kills, the lag would have to kill 4. If the Catalina kills an air target and gets its reward, the lag again would have to kill 4 air targets to match the reward that the Catalina is pulling in. It's the balancing factor that Gaijin's trying to bring in. You can fly the most powerful aircraft out of a particular year if you want to, but you're going to have to work a lot harder to pull the reward up as somebody who flies something that was a little bit more mediocre at that stage in time will pull a much larger reward. So what about premiums? Well, premiums are exactly the same as normal aircraft. They just get their reward bonus doubled. So here's my 39k Air Cobra. Again, it's got a 50% reward rate plus 50% for its premium, plus a 100% credit bonus. So again, target's worth 200 XP. We're going to pretend this one isn't mastered, so it's going to get an X5 multiplier, so 1000 XP. The initial reward modifier is 50%, so 500, but it gets doubled, so I take the full 1000 XP for my kill, plus the credit value of the target is doubled as well. So if that target was worth 1000 credits, I pull out 2. But this is where things get interesting. As you can see, this Air Cobra is mastered, so it no longer gets its X5 multiplier. So how's the calculation work? Well, we're going to exclude doubles and premium for the moment. We'll just work on the calculation of the plane and the target. So the target's worth 200 XP. So it goes through, the calculator goes through to the mastery bar. It's full, so it's got no multiplier. So you get a 50% reward. Of that 200 XP, you take 100, but it gets doubled, so you get the full 200. So from 1000 XP down to 200 XP because the bar is maxed out. It's a pretty severe drop. It's 1/5 of what you're pulling in before, but you know, it's not that bad. But it gets more severe as you go up through bigger premiums. So let's have a look at one of those. So here's my BTD-1 destroyer. It's one of the highest reward premium aircraft in the game. It's a 100, 100, 100 aircraft. There is only a handful of these that pull these sort of rewards. I can go through some details on some of them. We'll talk about some of them in a second, specifically swarming. This one isn't maxed out at the moment, so it gets its X5 multiplier. And we're going to have a look that anybody who spends the sort of money to purchase one of these aircraft is likely going to have a premium account, at least running for some amount of time too. So let's have a look what the full numbers are. Alright, so we'll start with our initial 200 XP target. Mastery bar isn't maxed out, so we've got an X5 multiplier, so that's 1000 XP. Initial reward modifier is 100%, so you take all 1000 XP, but it gets doubled because it's a premium aircraft with a 100-100 reward, so you're looking at 2000 XP. But the match you've just did, you just won, so it's a daily double, gets doubled again, so that's now 4000 XP for that initial target, and you have a premium account, so you're up to 8000 XP for that initial kill. Right, now we're going to pretend this plane is maxed out. So you got your 200 for your initial kill, no multiplier, so it gets doubled because it's a premium aircraft, so you're up to 400 XP. It's a daily double, so you're up to 800 XP, and you've got a premium account, so that 800 turns into 1600 XP. So you drop from 8000 XP earned per kill down to 1600 once you've maxed out the bar. Huge drop. Well, in reality, the actual percentage drop is basically the same across all the aircraft. But in terms of grinding, and especially considering it's a plane that you've spent money on, this is a severe slowdown. So why have they put in a mastery bar, especially on aircraft that you're purchasing for premiums, that will restrict its XP earnings? Well, that comes into swarming. You can see right here, this plane has the potential to, basically generate 8000 XP a kill. I can tell you from experience right now, I run this thing in historical battles, attacking ground targets as it's designed to do. 15 minutes without a double, but on a premium account, 100,000 XP. No problems whatsoever, and I'll pull in about 50,000 credits on that as well. Now, if this mastery bar didn't exist on a premium aircraft, why would I want to get out of this plane? The answer to this, of course, is I never would, until there would be no purpose to me getting out of this aircraft at all until I'd completely ground out the US line and I had about 30 million credits sitting under my belt to buy every aircraft that I wanted. This is why the mastery bars are put in this way, and it also stems from how the leveling system on War Thunder works. Now, most people with this sort of a game, their experience would have come from something like World of Tanks. World of Tanks leveling, in order to get to the next tank, you must play the previous tank in the line. There's no avoiding that. Premium tanks, you can play immediately at whatever tier they're at, but to use any of the XP that they generate, because premium tanks lead nowhere, and premium aircraft for war to warplanes as well, they lead nowhere. They're not directly attached into the tree. The only way to use their XP is to spend real world money to convert that XP out to make it free so you can use it wherever you want to. In War Thunder, every plane, premium, non-premium, generates XP towards your national level bar. When your national level goes up, every aircraft in that tier becomes available to you to purchase. That's the only catch on the whole system, is you have to purchase the previous plane to buy down, but every single one of them is available. And you can grind your cash on any aircraft you like, on any nation you like, and spend it in whatever tree you feel like, providing you've unlocked the aircraft up to that point. This prevents a lot of grinding and allows you to skip whole sections of the trees. You don't like the Kitty Hawk? Don't fly it. Just grind past it using a plane that you do like from before and buy the plane that's after. Want to skip the King Cobras? You can. I personally, I've got the XP38G. I've flown it quite a few times. I think I'm about halfway through its XP bar. It's a premium. The actual 38G, which is an identical aircraft, has its full free repairs. I've never put it into a match. This is why the mastery bars have been put in, because it is entirely possible in this game to pick a single plane that you enjoy and to fly that plane permanently till you unlock the entire game. Now, the mastery bar does not prevent you from earning XP, and the plane will still earn twice the amount of any equivalent aircraft. So this plane will still always earn a 200% bonus on whatever it hits. So that ground target is never going to drop below 400 XP value. It's a hell of a drop from 2000, but it's still twice what anybody else is going to get in a non-premium aircraft for shooting it. And the credit modifier on the plane does not change. Mastery bar makes absolutely no difference. You can grind constantly and use this plane after you have maximized the bar. It will just be less efficient than it was before. Now, I mentioned before swarming. It's something that those who have played this game for a long time would have seen come and go a few times. The reason why it tends to stop, a lot of people think it's due to nerfing. It's not. Basically, what I'm talking about with swarming, it was the D13 Dora swarms. Every time you went into a level 13 match or anything in the vicinity of a level 13 match at around between patch 1.27 and patch 3, you immediately ran into a battle, whether it be arcade or historical, it didn't really matter, where everybody who was flying German had a D13 Dora and was flying it. Why? Well, it was a 100, 100, 100 reward aircraft as well, and it was a hell of a fighter. Coming up towards the release of patch 1.3, the Dora swarms seemed to disappear. Everyone thought it was due to nerfing. Well, it really wasn't. The plane really wasn't nerfed. It had some slight flight model adjustments go through. Overall, as a D13 pilot, I actually felt the plane handled a lot better after the modifications were done. It seemed to be a little less wobbly in height. So if it wasn't nerfed, why did people stop flying it? Because in that time, they'd maxed out the XP bars. It was generating money for them, but it was no longer generating the XP that they needed to be able to power through the lines. What happened in 1.3? Well, another plane was released called the XP50. Again, it was I think on release it was a 100, 100, 100 as well. It's now a 90, 90, 100 premium aircraft. So everyone bought one of those and started going down the US line. Did exactly the same thing again. This stopped as well after a little while, because those that had spent the money to go and buy them all initially had maxed out the XP bars and found it was no longer generating the XP. Now, the American line has more premiums in it and better options in regards to premiums in it than the German line does. And people had obviously spent money on the American line, wanted to get further down it, wanted to hit 20. So the next plane that got swarmed was the Spitfire Mark 9, which, as of patch 1.35, is no longer available to buy. It's basically become a legacy aircraft. It, again, was a 90, 90, 100 reward aircraft, so everyone spammed that. They're still flying it a lot now, but give it a little bit more time, it'll disappear too. Again, because the XP bars have maxed out and there's no purpose to flying it anymore. This BTD-1, it will be a plane that will get spammed pretty hard as well, again, until it gets maxed out. Why are players doing this? Well, it's efficiency. They're spending money to get through the trees faster than they would be able to normally. They can generate money out of their premium aircraft. Why they're generating the XP needed? It's not a bad option if you're willing to throw some money at the game. Anyways, ladies and gents, we're coming to an end to this video. I hope you found it informative. I hope this clarified some of the issues that a few of the newer players and some of the older players I've noticed too didn't quite understand how the mechanics worked here. How well the system works is always up to debate. I'm still looking at the game as it is still in beta. There are bugs in the system. Hopefully they'll be sorted out over time. But this is the sort of way, the way that Gaijin appears to be trying to handle this system. Agree with it or not, it's best to understand at least how the system works. Anyways, ladies and gents, I'm going to call this one here. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it informative. If you did, please click the like button. Feel free to leave comments and subscribe if you want to see more. Fly safe.